We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
The ultimate goal of well-being is happiness and life satisfaction. But life is complex, and so is achieving happiness. Understanding well-being helps us to understand the elements that lead to happiness. This presentation has two purposes. One, to introduce the new field called well-being. Secondly, to introduce a planning process for the well-being of employees. The field of well-being is growing rapidly. Cities and countries around the world are conducting studies to measure the well-being of their citizens. Companies everywhere, it seems, are setting up well-being programs for their employees. Simply put, well-being is a hot topic. Noted authorities are saying it may be the most important topic of our lifetime. It seems too simple to put it this way, but the goal of well-being is happiness. As you will see, happiness is actually very complex and affected by several well-being elements. The well-being elements for this presentation are career, financial, social, community, and physical. These are the same elements covered in the Gallup organization's book on well-being. Take a moment to think about these words and how they affect your personal life. What thoughts and images come to your mind? Can you imagine the complexity when these well-being elements and other personal factors are all interacting in your life? This creates a very complex system, and each of us has to cope and manage in order to reach the happiness and life satisfaction. So far, no one has been smart enough to come up with an equation to put this all together. Maybe no one ever will. That is partially due to the fact that well-being involves so many disciplines such as psychology, economics, medicine, financial planning, and neuroscience. We can't know the complexities of well-being, and for sure we don't know all the ins and outs, but we don't need to. We just need to be aware that multiple elements affect our happiness, and those elements need to be somewhat in balance with each other. Let's elaborate upon the meaning of the 5 elements. To do this, we use modified descriptions that were published by author Christine Whalen. As we go through these topics, think about how they fit in your life. Career well-being. This means liking what you do for work, whether it's paid or unpaid, at home or in an office. This is one of the primary determinants of the overall well-being. If you like your job, you're twice as likely to be thriving in your overall life. People who like what they do are sick less often, feel like the day goes by faster, and are more engaged in other aspects of their personal lives. Next, social well-being. You need social time to have a thriving day. That is a day that you'd like to repeat again in the future. This social time can be combined with attention to your physical or career well-being. You get double the happiness boost from going on a run with a buddy and having a best friend at your office. Who do you enjoy spending time with? What are your different ways in which you stay connected to those most important to you? Financial well-being. While money doesn't buy happiness, it certainly helps. On the whole, people who live in more affluent countries are more likely to be thriving. Still, it's your sense of financial security, not the amount of your income, that has the most substantial impact on your overall well-being. Someone who has a moderate income and doesn't worry about money too much is going to be happier than their rich but anxious neighbor. Research shows that if you've got money to spend, splurge on experiences rather than materialistic things. That gets you maximum well-being bang for your buck. A pleasant memory, say from a vacation trip, lasts much longer than the enjoyment of a new TV or article of clothing. Then there is physical well-being. Exercise, sleep, and good personal health are crucial for you to thrive in your overall life. Exercise reduces fatigue, and a good night's sleep is nature's reset button. Also, educated choices about the food you eat today will help you feel better tomorrow. Finally, community well-being. This is the difference between a good life and a great life, and this is one where many of us struggle. We're so wrapped up in our own problems, business, and lack of time that we don't get out and join community groups, spiritual support networks, and volunteer organizations nearly as much as we should to maximize our overall well-being. Think about your passions and your personal gifts, and then figure out some ways that you could be useful to others. Now that the field of well-being is more familiar, let's move on to introduce a process for planning employee well-being. This process uses the 5 elements just covered. This presentation is not a place to discuss the process in detail, so we'll cover only the highlights. To begin the process, a Wellbeing Council is formed. This group might also be given another name, such as a Unity Council. This is a small group of employees that manage the process logistics, including arranging for a sample of employees to participate. After the sample of employees is selected, they will view this presentation, receive a copy of Gallup's book, and be asked to take the Wellbeing Finder survey that is included in their book. When they finish with the Wellbeing Finder, they receive a score for each of the elements, along with the information on how each can be improved. Everyone enters their Wellbeing Finder scores into an anonymous database. This data is analyzed to see how the group is doing overall for each well-being element. What percentage of the group is thriving, what percentage is struggling, and what percentage is suffering. Next, a meeting is scheduled for the group to discuss and brainstorm about the field of well-being. At this meeting, the Wellbeing Ideas software is introduced. This software is used to collect ideas for what employees think will improve their personal well-being. It is easy to use. The question posed is this: what ideas do you have for improving your personal well-being in your work environment? Employees are asked to not second-guess what their employer might like or support. They are told to be honest in expressing what they think. When employees return to their offices, they start submitting ideas in response to the question. Once again, the question is, what ideas do you have for improving your personal well-being in your work environment? Everyone sees all the ideas and who contributed them. Additionally, everyone can add comments and score or rate the ideas on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the best. The council reviews all the ideas with scores and concludes which ones are the most promising to go to the next step. The next step is to dig deeper. This is done with software for judging ideas against a set of criteria. Example criterion might be, this idea will help attract new employees, or this idea makes this a better place to work. Again, a rating scale of 1 to 5 is used. The council analyzes the results and compiles a stack of ideas with those most preferred on top and the least preferred on bottom. Now it is time to meet with management to present results and receive approvals for implementation. After management reviews the recommendation and hopefully gives approval, the sample of employees are brought together to learn about the results. This is a celebration event and a barbecue party might be just right. A webinar with project results is produced and posted online for all employees to view at their convenience. Now you know more about the field of well-being. You know about the planning process to discover projects, initiatives, and policies that are intended to improve employee well-being. Based upon real experiences, we know that everyone has loved the process and the experience. The most commonly heard words are that it was constructive and fun.
The AIM Institute recently established a new well-being project that was started by a group of employees who felt like this was an important thing to address. And they partnered with Dr. Jerry Wagner, who helped us really conceptualize what we might do around this whole idea of well-being. So one of the things that really made it powerful for the employees is that it created a set of categories around well-being that we hadn't thought about before. And creating just a very simple step of taking these categories or creating these categories made everything that they did around their well-being needs more actionable. It made it something that they could actually move towards and have steps towards. Often well-being is this vague concept. You can't get your arms around it. You just have a dull ache that you don't know how to address. But the structure, the straightforwardness, the whole process that we went through really made everything where you could see improvement, where you could see the benefit, where you could take the next baby step and the next one. I've heard from employees since we started this that they've enrolled in financial planning classes, that they're thinking about taking more advantage of our tuition reimbursement, that they want to be more involved in the community, that they've thought of ways that they feel like they could give back more. They've gone to church, they've gone to workout, you just get the conversation started and you create a culture where everyone's expected to be always improving. When you invest in the individual employee, you're investing in the organization. They feel more loyal, they feel more connected, they feel more motivated, and that spills over into the other employees. And the culture becomes about being positive and about improving. And any negativity that might be there is kind of wiped out. The positive approach wins, and the person wins, and the organization wins. The Wellbeing Project for us has certainly been a success, and the employees themselves now are picking this up, and they've created a group that's now going to continue this and institutionalize this and move this forward by all kinds of different workshops, support services, continually reassessing. So I see this being very integrated into our organization moving forward, and it's really been a great experience for us.
Dr. Jerry Wagner, the developer of this video, thanks you for watching. Jerry is passionate about involving employees in the planning of their own personal well-being. If this piques your interest, send Jerry a note and start sharing ideas.